Ferrari launches a new 458 Speciale. At the beginning of this week on Drive, Mike Musto drove a special 1955 Buick. Corvette C7R made a special appearance at the Monterey Historics, and all of that inspires me to tell you a few stories about some other auto racing specials for each of those brands: Ferrari, Corvette, Buick. This is Shakedown, the Drive Auto Racing Show. I'm Leo Parente, and today it's all special. Yeah, special like that short bus I used to have to ride on. Memories. The Ferrari 458 Italia Speciale. It's not a race car, but it is cool, and a special version of this great Ferrari. Now this Ferrari 458, that challenge car, is a race car and the closest version to a production car. And why would anyone ever do that to a Ferrari race car or not? Now last week we showed you two other Ferrari 458 race cars, the ALMS and Grand Am versions, both headed to the 2014 United Sports Car Racing Series. But we're talking about this Speciale. Lighter weight, more horsepower, active aero, special traction control, and handling management computerization. But really it's making me think about special Ferrari race cars. And I'm going to give you just three, and you're going to drop into the comments section your thoughts on your special Ferrari race cars. My first, the 1970 Ferrari 512S Codalunga, specially built for the Le Mans 24 and the Mulsanne Straight when it didn't have chicanes. It was a co-star of the movie Le Mans when it fought those Porsche 917s. This car is all about aero, and it's just sexy special, at least it is to me. Now the second special Ferrari for me, and again I'm showing my age by going back in time, but loving this story, is this 1971 Penske Sunoco Ferrari. Also a 512, but this one an M Coupe, but very different from the Codalunga and very special for a whole bunch of different reasons. Now Roger Penske was in his endurance racing mode and was the king at taking various brands to victory circle. In 1969, he won the Daytona 24 with a Lola T70 Mark III-B Coupe. For 1971, Roger thought Ferrari was the trick. And here comes the story, or so the legend goes. And here's an overview of the story, so Google for more of the details. Penske ordered a new 512M from the Ferrari factory, only to receive a horribly used Ferrari race car. What, there was no Carfax in 1971? And at the time, I recall, Ferrari race car sales agreements came with strict rules on negating modifications or the use of non-Ferrari parts. So pissed is not what you make Roger Penske, so he made his own special Ferrari 512M. Totally rebuilt the car, stiffened the chassis, added a whole bunch of new tricks, a quick fill fuel system, suspension tweaks, and unique features all over the place, plus a rear wing, and cleaned up the aerodynamics. All done with Penske show car finish and attention to detail. But the biggest holy mustacholi to Enzo was he took the V12 Ferrari engine to Traco Engineering, his Can-Am engine builder, and opened up the Ferrari. Started replacing parts and grinding on the Italian metals. Ended up with more horsepower than the real Ferraris. Pole position versus everyone else, including the Porsche 917s, and he got a P2 Daytona 24 finish out of it. To Sebring, another pole position, but the car raced and never got great finishes from there on. But it was a special Ferrari, but not special enough to win. My third special Ferrari race car, the 250 GT bread van. Now some Ferrari employees had had enough of Enzo's antics and left the company and formed their own race shop, called it ATS. A Ferrari race car customer, Count Volpe, was also one of the financial backers of ATS. So Enzo rewarded this alleged betrayal of loyalty by refusing to sell Volpe a GTO. I'm a friggin' count, Volpe must have thought. I'll build my own GTO, and better. So his 250 GT that he owned got modded. The V12 engine was pushed back farther for better weight balance. GTO parts were added to the car, 100 kilograms of lightness was added versus a GTO, and the aero bodywork was installed. And a special Ferrari race car was born. At Le Mans 1962, I think, the car DNF'd with a broken drive shaft, but was super quick and faster than the GTOs and all the other GTs. Now, Bread Van campaigned 4 more times in that season, scoring 2 GT class victories and a track record or 2, and apparently, even to this day, inspiring other builders to build Bread Van specials, like Callaway Cars and the new Corvette C7. Here, Callaway's calling it their Aero Wagon. And here, is the Corvette C7R race car that did some vanity laps at the 2013 Monterey Historics. Now, still GM and Corvette Racing won't discuss the details until the official launch, but here's what I think are the basic upgrades versus the last generation C6R. Like the road car, there is carryover from the previous generation, but it's all heavily updated. And like the road car, this race car is smaller in scale, and that provides many benefits, including weight distribution. This GTE, now USCR GTLM, the rules for that class say a set weight for all of those cars, 1,245 kilo, 2,745 pounds, and since smaller is less weight, the Corvette team will be able to move the weight around and the ballast around the car as they need for better balance. Aero will be a step forward, more downforce likely and probably less drag. And looking at the rear of the car and how open the airspace is above the diffuser, I bet, just like the road car, they're focusing on airflow management inside and through the car to make this a better managed race car. All in all, a special tease intro at Monterey for the most special of Corvettes, the factory C7R race car that'll run starting in 2014. Oh, and here's the special C6R test mule that went on track when that generation race car debuted. There was no factory camo back then, but it made for great die casts and slot cars and caused a ton of corporate agita at GM. But that's a whole other special story for another time or never. Okay, and then we have Buick, inspired by Mike Musto's Buick Special Showcase video that he did. But my take is Buick and racing. And since Buick doesn't race anymore, time to show you some special Buicks that did hit the racetrack. That's right before this and this. Buick raced, and it was good for the brand, in my opinion, versus stuffing some huge basketball players into compact cars to make I don't know what key selling point. Before that, there were pre-war Buick race cars, like this 1910 Special. There were stock cars like Musto's Special, but this was 1954, and this car was built and raced for the Mexico La Carrera Panamericana race, rally, cross-country thing, whatever it was. 5 of them were built, and Coca-Cola was their sponsor. Bonneville Salt Flats is happening now, and Buicks are still there racing. Buick raced the Indy 500, more than a few generations. Actually, is that a Chevrolet in a Buick? And those spare tire-looking things, that's the radiator. And then in the 1970s and 80s, Buick V6 Turbo took on the V8 turbos of Cosworth and others. More than a few teams ran them, more than a few pole positions and big speed, but no wins. Buick even backed the Indy Lights driver development series with a supply of V6 normally aspirated engines. In drag racing, how about a famous racer, TV Tommy Ivo, thinking 4 Buicks were the answer, and this car was famously born. There were many other Buick drag cars through the years, mainly in the stock racing classes. And of course, Buick was in NASCAR. And then there were the Buick sports cars. How about starting with this 1963 Tahero Buick, a Scottish team, Ecurie Koss, a super young Jackie Stewart, and what the heck, a decision to build our own race car was the mindset. And the thing was fitted with a Buick V8, and a win the first time out. There were all sorts of other special Buick road racing cars, and here are a few of them. But my favorite was this one, racing in the IMSA prototype class in the 1980s. A March chassis, V6 turbo, huge horsepower, and the intercooler from hell because apparently before being stuffed into this race car, it was used to cool hell. Functionally ugly, but all race car beautiful. And some of these Buicks made their way to Le Mans, the 24. It's montage time. So that's it? Of course not. How about a Buick Special in Formula One? And not any pre-war generation car, how about the 1966 season and a bit more? This car, Jack Brabham, and the championship-winning Jack namesake self-built Brabham BT20 Repco. Here's Jack in his car at Spa. And before you say Repco was an Oldsmobile-based motor, I say listen to this a bit. This was the start of the 3-liter F1 era, and everyone was scrambling to find the right engines. Brabham thought the engine from Repco, an Aussie technical supplier who was tweaking on an all-aluminum GM engine, a power plant funded but abandoned by Oldsmobile, but it was going to be developed by Olds to be installed in a future Buick production car and to be branded Buick. So, as Jack Brabham won the 1966 F1 championship with a Buick engine, I win by claiming Buick was in F1. Okay, that's it. Ferrari, Corvette, Buick. All specials. That's what this show is all about. So now it's time to give me your thoughts on special race cars that you can think of for Ferrari, Corvette, and Buick. See you next time. Jesus. Okay.